Boxing King Media in association with Boxro. Another random meetup with cult leader. I like to call you a cult leader, Tyan Booth, at the same pub as last time.
Same spot, same drink, Desperados. So yeah, man, back on Boxing King Media.
Would you agree that there's more people here than there were last time? And I've got a feeling it might be because of the video we did here last time.
Boxing's not really a big sport, you know. You know, people outside of boxing, they've never heard of like John Ryder, have they? Or who else is fighting this weekend?
Liam Smith, Chris
Josie Parker. No one. These guys don't know these Josie Parker guys. He was a world champion, wasn't he? So boxing's kind of niche. It's small, so I think it's good to expand, you know, and go beyond boxing. Let's do it, man. Let's go. Is this recording?
It's recording.
Recording, yeah.
Tyan, I've got to ask you. I've seen over the last few weeks. I didn't even know you was cousins with Jermaine Pennant. You've spoken quite a lot about him recently. How are you guys related?
Jermaine Pennant, the former professional Premiership footballer. He's my cousin. Yeah, he's my cousin.
What
same
kind of
school, same area. Grew up in the same area. And
blood related?
When he got to blood. When he got to 15, he got signed by Arsenal for $2 million. So he was like the celebrity, you know, in the area growing up. I was the little nobody. He was getting the girls, yeah. I was struggling sexually. Jermaine Pennant was like the popular guy, you know what I mean? Who I wanted to be like. I wanted to be a footballer. But I fucked up in football like I fucked up in boxing. So hopefully this YouTube, you know, it goes a bit better.
Did you guys have a relationship? Did you speak to each other when you was young?
Yeah, we was good. And then when he got to like 15 years old, he got signed by Arsenal for $2 million. Moved to London. And people kind of lost touch with him. And after that, he started to get that money. And then he eventually went bankrupt.
They say money changes people, don't it? But how did it? So you reckon the fact that he got all that money, he didn't want to know you anymore?
I think because like a lot of people in the family are scumbags, so he wanted to try and distance himself from it. So he like moved to London, probably disconnected himself from a lot of scumbags, a load of criminals in the family. My dad was a criminal.
Do you think he thought you were a scumbag?
No, me and him got on all right. We got on okay. I wouldn't mind like kind of going down that field, you know, like getting into football, because football is a lot bigger than boxing. But my football knowledge is terrible, but so is my boxing knowledge. So I might just wing it, you know, like I do in my lives. My YouTube live streams last for hours, and I don't know. It's just.
What is the record at the moment for the live streams?
What, in terms of time?
Yeah, I'm sure you did a 6-hour one the other day.
Yeah, 6 hours, and it went by like that because I was drinking. It helps me flow and chill and relax.
It's crazy. You know, but
I love it.
What I love the most is that you consistently have like 1,000 people, 500, 600, 700 people watching continuously.
They watch all the way through the night as well. So I'll be streaming. I might start at 11 p.m. and go till like 4 a.m. and people are still there, you know, chatting away, you know, in the live chat. But it's fun though, you know what I mean? It's a weird cult.
The mad thing is that you get up and go for a piss, and even when you're off screen, they're still watching.
Yeah, they enjoy the noises, you know, the piss going into the empty bottle of milk.
It's crazy.
It's like ASMR. Have you heard of that? It's like I watch this woman, and she makes like noises, you know, that are like relaxing and soothing.
Okay.
And it helps people sleep. So I think some of these mad people in that cult, I think they enjoy the piss noises. And you know, me gulping alcohol. I don't know, man, whatever floats their boat, you know, they tune in and they give me money as well. And I'm grateful. They stopped me from becoming evicted a few years ago.
Wow.
True story.
That's amazing.
Because I fucked up in boxing. I didn't make money, did I? So when I finished boxing, it took years to get paid a penny, you know, from YouTube. Eventually, the money built up. You know what I mean? Because I kept doing different things, selling merch. I sold thousands of pounds of merch. Went on a subscription page, Patreon. You know what I mean? Thousands of pounds a month. You know what I mean? And then YouTube live streams. People giving me £5, £10, £50, £100. A guy gave me £450. A guy called Hex Toys. I've got to give him a little shout out, you know. Because he's been supporting for a few years, so yeah.
So if you ever started a cult and you needed like a vice chairman, it would be him.
Yeah, he's like a crypto guy. So boxing's a bit corrupt. You know, there's some money launderers in boxing, not mentioning any names. But I don't know, money's money.
I reckon if you fell asleep on a live, even if he was knocked out for hours snoring away, I think people would still watch it.
I was doing a live stream, and a few hours in, I just got into bed for about half an hour. But I felt guilty, so I got out of bed and just carried on with the live. People were still there. You know what I mean? So they're kind of hardcore.
And I've seen recently you I don't know if you've applied or not, but you was talking about applying on Big Brother.
Yes, I might do it just to get more content, but it's a bit cringe.
I think you'd win.
It's a bit cringe, man, because like now, we're having a nice little chat, but the producers of Big Brother, they kind of give you tasks and they make you do certain things, you know what I mean? And you're kind of trapped in the house. My cousin Jermaine Pennant was in there, and he couldn't have a phone, so they didn't know what time of day it was. They didn't know whether they should be going to bed or waking up, or whether it was breakfast time or dinner time. They didn't have a clue. And Jermaine said it sent him a bit mental.
I think you'd win, mate.
Yeah.
Is that what your cult following are telling you as well? I think the national public will lap you up because just the way you are. I think they'd find you intriguing and interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to sell out too much though, you know what I mean? I don't want to do anything just to try and, you know, become somebody. It's cringe, isn't it? It's a bit cringe, man.
Obviously, YouTube's paying the bills, paying your rent, and it's you made a living out of it. But I'm sure I picked up recently. You said that your mum's not entirely impressed. She's disappointed that you've gone down the YouTube route. Have you explained to her about the super chats? Does she understand it?
She used to watch my videos, but because I was slagging a lot of people off in boxing, my mum's a Christian. She's a nice, respectable woman, and she don't appreciate me dissing all these people in boxing, you know, like Kogan and a few others. So I think she lost interest. I don't think she's watched any lives, so she hasn't seen the super chats, you know, the money people are giving me. She hasn't seen the money like flooding in. So she's saying to me like she's disappointed in me and my brother because we haven't got careers. But this is an easy job, YouTube live streaming.
Do you think if she knew Hector was paying you £450 to ask you a question, she'd be proud of that, wouldn't she?
Hex Toys. She's from a different generation. She's like 60 years old, so she's not like... When she was my age, there was nothing like this around. If she wanted to be a TV presenter, she'd have to go to a TV executive, you know, and audition and stuff like that, and sit in front of a load of writers and people telling her. It would have been harder back in the day, wouldn't it? But we can be our own presenters, you know, and get paid from sitting in our living rooms, drinking alcohol, talking a load of shit, which is what I do.
The maddest thing is, though, if you said to your mum, this guy's paid me £450 and in return he's asking me a question.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah, but this is what... I'm not comparing myself to KSI, but that's what he said. He said his mum was disappointed in him, you know, when he kind of fucked up in school or whatever, his A-levels. But then he said that he started to earn more money than the teachers, you know, at school. So when she seen the money coming in, KSI's mum was quite proud of him and happy that he was on that YouTube path. You know, I'm not on the same level, but it's still, you know what I mean?
Tyan Booth versus KSI, that sounds mad.
It's levels though, isn't it?
Would he ever fight you?
But who's that guy who he fought though, that Penado?
No, he didn't fight Pinedia.
You know, the Mexican guy?
Yeah, he fought on the undercard.
No, he fought him, didn't he?
No, he fought him last time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, he's boxed him. But who was he before that?
Pinedia, I think just a Mexican journeyman.
That's what I'm saying, like, Hasim Rahman Jr., he had like 5,000 Instagram followers. But then Jake Paul started calling him out, you know, and mentioning that they sparred and all this. And he got like 200,000 followers, you know, overnight. Hasim Rahman Jr. Now he's got a few paydays, you know, from like getting involved in the YouTube boxing scene.
Well, whilst we're on the YouTube scene, did you watch a Misfits card the other week?
Yeah, I watched it, yeah.
What was your favourite fight?
I watched KSI's fight.
Did you watch the undercard?
I'm not hardcore like that. I'm not really...
What, did you watch the Mexican guy, Pinedia? Did you watch his
Yeah, I
ring
watched
walk?
this fight, yeah.
What would you make of his ring walk and how good he was this time as well?
He came out to the Undertaker, which was probably the highlight, because I used to love wrestling back in the day, WWF wrestling. So I used a little clip from WWF wrestling in my live stream. But you know, Vince McMahon, he's a bit strict, you know, the copyright of his WWF content. So the video got blocked.
For those that are wondering why your live disappeared the other day.
Yeah, it got blocked because of copyright issues, but
And Vince McMahon's to blame for it.
yeah, I'm going to re-upload it.
And just talking of Pinedia, who obviously won, I don't know if you've seen the comments, people were saying, you know, why was he so bad against KSI and he was so good? But why do you think that was?
Could have took a bribe, you know what I mean?
Do you think that really happens? Or?
KSI's got money, you know what I mean? So to pay this little broke Mexican. We're in England, aren't we? It's easy here. You don't have to work. You can get money given to you. You get a roof over your head. You get national health service, you know what I mean, for free. But in Mexico, we don't know what it's like, do we? Do they get benefits for being unemployed?
I doubt it.
Exactly. So if KSI goes to him and says, listen, you take a dive, yeah, and I'll pay you a little bonus, he might do it.
It's
not real boxing, is it?
If he was going to take a dive, like it's a strong allegation to say that happened. I don't think that happened, but maybe he couldn't deal with the power.
Has KSI got power though? This guy was an actual professional boxer. You know what I mean? So I think
I find that Pinedia has to get home. He has to go to Amsterdam, catch a flight from Amsterdam to Mexico. And once he gets to Mexico, he has to take an internal flight. After that internal flight, he's got to drive 4 hours on a bus into the mountains to get home. How mad is that?
yeah, that's so you're gonna take that money for a dive. You know, if you're going for all that shit, you're gonna money's money. And we spoke about this before. It's a system that we were brought up in. I wasn't taught how to fish or go hunting. You know what I mean? So all I know is like money. I rely on Sainsbury's and Tesco's. But some people know how to hunt, they know how to grow food, they know how to fish, but I don't know any of that. I'm pretty much pathetic, you know, in the natural world of surviving. You know, if it all collapsed,
But you're
Tesco's,
surviving though.
Sainsbury's. Yeah, because Sainsbury's is still open. Tesco's, you know what I mean? I don't know how to hunt. Do you?
No.
That's what I mean.
Would struggle.
People like Tyson Fury, they probably know how to survive. John Fury, you know, those gypsies. They know how to survive better than people like me.
To be able to live off the land. You know, whilst we're talking about Sainsbury's and linking it in with KSI, you will have seen this prime drink. So have you drank the prime drink yet?
I've never drank it.
Never drank it.
Never drank it, but
have you seen this guy that's selling them for 100?
Yeah, in Wakefield. Yeah.
What do you make of that?
People jump on hype, don't they?
Do you think people are actually paying him £100 for a can of prime?
Yeah, because people who I know, they've got kids, and their kids like pretty much made their parents drive around for hours, you know, looking for a bottle of prime. So it's just that social media wave, you know, things catching on. When things are trending in boxing, like or in life, people jump on it. It's like when the Queen died. You know, you get all these idiots writing Facebook statuses saying, "Oh, it's so sad, the Queen's death. You know, Britain will never be the same." It's like, what's changed since she's died? Like, who cares? You know what I mean?
Just talking of the prime drink, I reckon if you brought your own range out, I don't know what you'd call it. I think people would buy it. What would you call it?
I don't know what I'll call it, but I know it'll probably sell because...
Thai. Just call it Thai.
You know what? Like I said, people are giving me some stupid amounts of money for nothing, you know, in my YouTube live stream, so I think it would sell. I don't want to diss my viewers, but they say a fool and his money will easily part. You've heard that saying before,
That's a very good saying.
Yeah, that's it, man. I don't want to call my donators fools, but they give me stupid amounts of money. I'm grateful.
They obviously enjoy listening to you, but if you did have a drink, you've obviously, your YouTube channel name is very similar to another big YouTube channel, without mentioning any names. You could quite simply do something similar with Prime, couldn't you? I don't know if you could think of a name top of your head.
Yeah, all right then. So Chris Eubank Jr., yeah?
Oh, we're just jumping on Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. Let's talk about the press conference.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it.
talk to me about it. Were you watching it live?
Yeah, I watched it, yeah.
So you know Sky Sports took it down straight away?
Yeah, I know, they was on edge, you know, when certain things got brought up.
So let us talk about the two things that got brought up. So Liam Smith suggested that Chris Eubank Jr. is gay because he's never seen him with a female before. And then Chris eventually bit back and said, at least I've been cheating on my wife, suggesting Liam has been. So what do you make of them comments?
So the first part, yeah, Liam Smith saying that Eubank's gay because he's never seen him with a woman. That's what they used to say about Lennox Lewis. They used to call him gay. You know, Hasim Rahman Sr., he tried to have a go at Lennox, you know, calling him gay because he never seen him with a woman. But your private life's your private life, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Your channel is becoming big now, isn't it?
Decent.
No one knows your wife. They don't need to. You know what I mean? Why do you need to? But going back to Eubank, yeah?
Yeah.
So what? So Andrew Tate as well.
Yeah.
He was interviewed and he was asked, like, have you got a wife and kids? And he said, even if I did or not, like, I wouldn't mention it. If I did have a wife and kids, I won't mention it because obviously he's being targeted now, you know, by the elites. They locked him up in a Romanian prison. So, you know what I mean? You don't want to put your family, you know, your close family.
Do you think Eubank's worried about the elites targeting him?
Jr. I don't know. I don't think he's gay. I don't think he's zesty at all. I'm not sure. I don't think he is.
Do you think he's just good at keeping it private?
Yeah, just keep his private life private.
But what do you make of Chris's comments about Liam?
Chris's comments about Liam Smith cheating on his wife. Well, first of all, like, where's the evidence? Is he just saying that in retaliation to Liam Smith saying that he's gay? And even if Liam Smith did cheat on his wife, like Liam Smith's he is a millionaire in it now. He boxed Canelo. He's got another big fight coming up.
I'd assume so.
He probably would have boxed Eubank already by the time this goes up. Yeah. So that's a big pay-per-view fight. Probably get a few million for that. So he's like he's a rare kind of a guy. Do you know what I mean? Because men are valued on their money, aren't they? Really. Women are valued on their looks. That's why the makeup industry is a $1 billion industry and it will never go out of business. Do you know what I mean? Women get surgery, they get Botox, they've got fake eyelashes, hair extensions. They've got these Brazilian butt lifts, to give them a nice arse. Breast implants, because women know that their looks define them. But money defines men, really. You know, if you're a broke man, you're a loser. You're gonna really struggle. You know.
Do you like women with like, you know?
I don't like fake women at all. I like natural women. That Skye Nicolson looks alright. I prefer her to Ebanie Bridges. Ebanie Bridges has got fake tits. She got tattoos. I'm not really into it.
Don't you think she's done really well in marketing herself and obviously she's probably minted right now for the way she's kind of marketed herself, got her name out there without really, you know, she's had what, 10 fights?
Ebanie Bridges. So
World champion at 10 fights, and I don't know if you know her story, but she, I think she turned pro at 30, and her background was just being a ring card girl, and then from the age of 30 to now, she's fought women who were like genuine boxers, been boxing from the amateurs, and beat them as well. Knocked out that Shannon O'Connelly, had a very close fight with Shannon Courtney. Do you not like rate her for a bit of that?
Well, I sparred with Nicola Adams, yeah, and she was like a well-known woman boxer, and I was just an average boxer, you know what I mean? And I schooled her. Sparring, innit? So it don't really mean anything. You know, I've seen Kell Brook get knocked down in sparring by a guy who was just like an area champion. So obviously Kell became a world champion. I think Kell was a world champion at the time. So sparring don't really mean anything. You know what I mean? It's only people really who haven't achieved in boxing who focus on sparring stories and I did this in sparring and that. It don't mean anything. Like Kid Gallard, he said that he used to, like, I think he like practices weaknesses, you know, to like perfect his weaknesses. But you know, you just talking then about Ebanie Bridges, you brought up so many like interesting things because you interviewed her.
Yeah, because I got to know her story and I was quite intrigued how much she's achieved in such a short space of time.
You say you got to know her story, but you was trying to get the story out of her, and she was like reluctant to give you the story.
It's a very good point.
But as viewers, we wanted to hear the story, and she was like saying, "Oh, I don't want to be all negative, you know. I want to be all happy and positive and that for the viewers, but I don't like that at all.
I think she's saving that for post-boxing.
Yeah, that's fine if she's doing that, but when people are struggling in life, they want to hear like other people struggling, because we're kind of tribal, innit? We want to be part of like a tribe. We want to feel like we belong. So there's lots of losers out there, or people who have just been through a lot of trauma. So to hear her talking about her problems and trauma, and then to see how she's like evolved and really progressed from it, that will be inspiring to like people who have been through a load of shit themselves, you know, in their lives. So she was holding back from telling you the story of her past trauma. She said she nearly died. So we want to know like what happened, but she didn't want to reveal, which is it's her prerogative, isn't it?
Definitely. I don't know if you saw the picture the other day of David Haye and two ladies in Morocco, and I believe, I hope I'm not wrong, David Haye has come out and said he's in a relationship with two people at the same time. Do you think he's telling the truth, or is he having us all on?
Well, he's got, like I just said before, men are valued on their money, aren't they? David Haye's earned a few quid. He's had a few pay-per-view fights, you know what I mean? World champ, world heavyweight champ. He won a heavyweight title, didn't he?
He did.
Cruiserweight champ as well, so... He earned money, he's in decent shape.
Undisputed cruiserweight
Yeah,
champ?
he was quite good back in his day. So he's got money, so that will naturally draw women to him. Do you know what I mean? I used to study evolution, and like women obviously are drawn to men with like resources, because back in the day they couldn't really get their own kind of resources, you know, like in the early days, the caveman days. Because if a woman's pregnant, times were different back then. They couldn't get money given to them by the government. So if they had a kid, yeah, with some man who's a loser, and they got pregnant, these women would be really vulnerable, you know, back in the day, because they'd be pregnant. They can't hunt and compete with men for the same resources, so they would die out. So it was like really important, you know, for a woman to get with a man of some worth. That's why even today, women tend to go for men, you know, who've got like money, resources, etc. I used to look at women who go for men with money as being like gold diggers. Yeah, I used to look at them in a negative way, but it's just biology, isn't it? It's just nature. So that's what it is.
Do you think that's what's going on with David Haye then?
David Haye's in good shape. He's got a bit of celebrity about him. You know, he's got money. So yeah, he's getting that posse. And I seen the photo you're talking about as well. And I rate him.
You rate him. Could we see Tyan Booth one day with two ladies, one under each arm?
Well, I've been with 100 women.
Wow.
I used to try and live off, you know, the boxing there. Even though I wasn't all that, these women didn't know that. So I used to pretend I was better than I was. Say, oh, I'm British champ, world champ, you know what I mean?
So you
like these women would come round to my house, yeah. They'd fall for it. But at the same time, men fall for women's, you know, filtered pictures from these little angles. They take these photos from up here, so it kind of like points down at them, so you can't see their double chin.
Have you had an experience like that?
And then they turn up and then they're fat as fuck.
Have you had an experience like that? Talk to me about the worst experience you've had like that.
Well, I was on a dating app, got talking to somebody. They invited me round to the house, so I went round, and it was a black man. It was actually two black men, you know, who were trying to fucking act a bit dodgy, and I had to just get out of there, man.
So there was no female there?
No, there was no woman there at all. But it's my naivety, because the profile that messaged me didn't even have a photo. I was just so sexually charged up. I just thought, I'm gonna go. And it nearly backfired, because there was two fucking black men there, you know, trying to set me up. So I just quickly got out of there.
It could have been the end of Tyan Booth.
Yeah, it could have been. And if something like that happened to me, like...
It'd be national news.
There's got to be consequences, you know what I mean? There's got to be some... I won't be able to live with it.
Do you think your loyal followers would back you up if you ever...
Charles Manson, he had a cult, yeah? And those people in that cult, the men and women, they actually killed for Charles Manson.
You know, on that point, the ones that are listening, I want you guys to comment and be genuine about it. If Tyan Booth got himself in some shit and he made some phone calls or did a live YouTube on his phone, said, right guys, I need you all here at this location, would you guys turn up? Be interesting to see how many people comment and said they would. Do you think many would?
I don't know. I'm not sure because some people comment on my live chat saying, "Do you want £200?"
Yeah.
There's a guy who he's always in the live. He's called Ricky, and he keeps commenting saying, "Do you want £200?" And he just says it all the time.
Is it always 200?
He's never given me.
Is it less or more?
It varies,
All right.
but he never backs it up.
Ricky, pay up.
Yeah, it don't matter. But my point is, like, some people are just talk, aren't they?
And going back to Eubank Junior Smith, you saw the weighing today. I don't know if you saw Chris come out with the rainbow armband, which I'm guessing was a retaliation to the comments that were made yesterday. Do you think that was clever mind games by Chris?
I want to know how he comes up with this. Is it actually him? You know, with the KFC jacket, the little fruity armband. Is it his ideas?
See, I asked a few people that today. I said, is this Chris Eubank's personality? Is he calculate? Everyone's saying that's him. That's just his personality. He's
Yeah,
just
but
like
he
that.
says that, but I've seen him on a channel called The Diary of a CEO. And you know, you've heard of Dragon's Den, yeah?
I have.
There's a brown guy on there. I forgot his name. He's called Stephen, actually. And he interviewed Eubank on his channel. And Eubank said when he first came on the scene, he was really poker-faced. You know, really stiff, really robotic. He didn't have a personality. And even off camera, you know, Ronnie Davis,
Yep.
his trainer. I was watching an interview with him the other day, and he said he was in a car with Eubank Jr. a few years ago. And he said to Eubank Jr., why don't you talk? Like, why don't you speak? You know what I mean? Why don't you let your personality come out and, you know what I mean, talk? Because he wasn't saying anything in the car, Chris Eubank Jr. And that was a good thing about Brendan Ingle. He used to, like, get us to the... Like, he'd stop, the gym would be packed out with people, yeah, boxers. Brendan would stop the gym, and he'd tell someone like me, like, to stand in the middle of the fucking gym and talk about myself, you know, for 5 minutes.
Help you with confidence.
Yeah, exactly that, you know, because he said, like, when you're on, if you box and you get to a decent level, you get interviewed. You can't just say, oh, I don't know, you know, like an idiot, and make a fool of yourself on camera. I'm not saying I'm great on camera, but, like, it's just like prepping us, you know, for the day if we get to a level where we get interviewed.
Do you think he saw the ability in you and TYFL TV years before anyone else, and he kind of prepped you for that moment?
He definitely helped. Johnny Nelson. Yeah, he definitely helped.
And
He got me used to being on camera, you know what I mean? I used to hate the cameras. I used to hate my own voice. It was just irritating, but kind of got used to it now.
And talking about the actual fight tomorrow, you was like this close to beating Chris Eubank Jr. As you know, you've talked about it numerous times. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
The good thing is, I don't know.
I said tonight because I'm going to put this out midday tomorrow.
Yeah. I love not knowing, though. I've said this before. Like, I ain't got a clue. But I'd rather that, you know, instead of knowing exactly what's going to happen, knowing that he's going to fuck this guy up. So, yeah. I don't know. I love not knowing, though. It makes it more intriguing for me.
Chris, let's just say hypothetically speaking, if he stops Liam Smith in a few rounds, and the fact that you went a lot longer, does that mean you'll show how good you are? Because you fought Chris in his prime, would you say? Or is this his prime now?
No, I think he was like 10-0 at the time. So obviously he's boxed George Groves, he's boxed Billy Joe Sandwiches, he's boxed James DeGale. So he would have got that experience, you know, from fighting these guys. So he would be better around about now than he was like when I boxed him. But yeah, I like Eubank Jr. People say, oh, do you hate him because he beat you? No, I kind of hate myself, you know, for chucking the fight down the drain. So yeah, he did what he had to do and I didn't do what I had to do, so... You know what I mean? Let's
talk about Ohara Davies. You know, back in the day, you've said a lot about him. Do you rate him for the way he's kind of resurged his career? It was announced today he's fighting Lewis Ritson. And if he beats Lewis Ritson, I believe his next fight's going to be for a world title.
I think I can't remember who said it. Someone said, like, once you quit once, you'll always quit when it gets tough. So that's kind of what he's defined by now, the black quitter. So it's like, I don't know. That's what I think about him. But I've seen a few people dissing him, you know, saying he's gone downhill and he's not as, like, spoken about. He might now. What you say, he's got a world title fight coming up. But my point is, like, he kind of fell off, you know, and Eddie Hearn, like, fucked him off.
He's been clever though. I don't know if you watch him or follow his journey, but he's been buying property outside boxing. He's kind of been investing in his future.
That's what I'm saying. This is what I mean. This is the thing. Property. Property. You know, accumulating properties, assets. No one in my close family's got assets like that, you know what I mean? So I wanted to like break the mold, you know, and do something different other than working in a factory or cleaning toilets or selling weed like my dad. You know, I wanted to like do something different. And this YouTube, it's a nice income.
Let's another hypothetical question for you. Time Booth gets his first million. What do you do straight away? Say £1 million goes into your account tomorrow. What would you do? What's the first few things you're going to buy, spend it on? What would you do?
So my mum and dad, yeah, when they were young, they were just in the pub drinking, smoking weed, driving around in my dad's car that he bought, you know, with the money that he made from selling weed. They were just fucking wasting money on alcohol and weed and just going to parties and all that. But you know, the Asians in my area, I've told you this story already, they were accumulating properties. So now, like my mum and dad, you know, their kids, their generation's kids, they're now having to go to these Asians and ask them to rent a room, you know, in one of their properties. You know what I mean? So, yeah, property, man.
So you're just going to splash out on property?
Yeah, that's it, man.
Jake Paul said the other day, if he loses to KSI, that he'd chop his penis off. Do you think he'd actually do that?
It's clown talk, man. It's clown talk, bro. Come on. It's silly talk. I rate Jake Paul, but no, it's just stupid talk.
Just a quick change of batteries, Tyan. So just want to wrap up and speak to you about the recent developments in the whole Conor benn saga with the whole WBC thing. You will have seen Conor's put on his Instagram story that the science will prove he's innocent. The WBC came out and said that it was there was a 3-week delay in Conor sending something back to them, but they did also say by end of December it'll all be sorted. We're now nearly in February. We're still kind of waiting for. No one really knows what's going on. But I think from what I read, in fact, I'm sure it said somewhere that there's contamination alleged for both them tests in the lab. What do you make of that?
You know what it is, like I said before, you know, I'm drinking out this glass. There's probably thousands of people drinking out of this glass here, so there'll be people's germs on this glass here, but I don't know, I'm kind of bored of Conor Bum, you know. I'm bored of hearing about him talking about legal letters and his lawyers have said this and the science, you know, and this and that, and it's just boring, isn't it? Even if he gets the all clear, people are still going to say he's a drug cheat, you know, so it's one of them, isn't it? Like,
do you think that's quite hard in this society? Let's just say if he is innocent, he's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life. It's quite harsh, that, isn't it?
Yeah, the human psychology, it's like people want to have a go at somebody. I don't know if it makes them feel better about their lives. I always think about this kind of shit. Human psychology. It's like they want him to be guilty, even myself in a way. For some reason, I don't know what it is, like people enjoy seeing people's downfall, don't they?
Why is that? Why do we live in a world where people want to
Because
see...
it's competition, isn't it? You're probably competing with other YouTubers, you know what I mean, to be the main man. You know what I mean? Men are competing for women, you know, in clubs, nightclubs. You know, everyone wants to fuck the woman. You know, women are competing with other women. That's why they wear all this makeup. And they get these fucking breast implants and these Brazilian butt lifts. It's all competition, isn't it? It's deeper than that. It goes back to like early evolutionary times, you know, where you're just competing for like resources. Like the people who aren't competitive enough to, you know, make that kill. You kill that food, you know, and kill this caveman who's trying to compete for that food. They'll die out. So will their family. So it's just competitiveness, isn't it? It's like a pyramid. I want to get as high up as possible, you know, the pyramid. But obviously the higher up you go, the fewer people there are there. So it's kind of harder to, if you step up in, say like most people at the bottom of the pyramid, yeah? Capitalism's like a pyramid. Most people at the bottom broke in shit jobs. Minimum wage, whatever. So if you want to step up a level, obviously you've got to force somebody else down in the pyramid. You know what I mean? So it's always competition, isn't it? The higher up you go, you know, the harder it gets, isn't it, to get there.
It definitely
It's
does.
just competition like all the time.
I've got to ask you, just to wrap up, Tyan. I know you was on a live on your channel yesterday. Am I right in saying you called some lady friend around to your apartment, house, flat, and it kind of went wrong?
Well, I was ringing up an escort, you know, off a site called Viva Street.
Or was it an escort? I thought it was a lady friend.
Who are you talking about? Yesterday on my live
Yeah,
stream?
I thought it was a
No,
lady
I was
friend.
ringing up an escort.
Okay.
Off a site called Viva Street, and eventually got her around. But my camera was recording, because I wanted to get her on the live stream, you know, to sex up my lives, my YouTube lives. I wanted to sex it up.
And I bet
She didn't know she was being recorded.
And your live viewers knew about this?
Yeah, but what you say?
Your live viewers knew
Yeah,
about it?
because I was ringing her, and they could see me ringing her. And on her profile, it said that she does webcams. So I had a webcam or a camera. So when she came round, she seen the camera rolling, and she seen my live, and she kind of panicked, and she said, "I'm going." And I said, "Just sit down, I've got £100 here for you." And she was like, "No, I'm going." So I said, "What you do? You said you do like webcams, you know, on your profile." She was like, "Yeah, not this kind of thing. I meant like FaceTimes." And I was like, I was trying to get her to stay, yeah, but she just left. She had a pimp outside in a car waiting for her. So she just left.
How many live views did you have? I bet the numbers went through the roof.
This was about 3 in the morning though, you know, but like I say, I got some hardcore followers. So there was people tuning in, you know, at that time in the morning.
That is pretty creative. So you got some lady to come round, and unfortunately she left.
Yeah, I got her on camera for about 3 seconds.
Is the video still up?
The video got blocked because of Vince McMahon from the WWF.
Are you putting it back up?
I'm going to re-upload it. Yeah, I'm going to put it back up.
So your fans can see what happened with this lady friend?
Yeah, because they've been asking me what happened. And yeah, I got her around. I nearly nailed it. But she panicked, you know, when she seen a camera there. And she left, got in the car with her pimp. He drove off, and then she messaged me, you know, saying, "I've just called the police because you recorded me and you tried to force me to stay." But that's just a scare tactic, innit?
But you've got
Like
loads
I
of
said,
witnesses. Have you got loads of witnesses on live that would show that you didn't?
That's what I'm saying. She was recorded, like, leaving of her own accord. And, like, it's just Andrew Tate, innit? It's like, that's what they're trying to say about him, like.
In fact, I'll finish at Andrew Tate. If Andrew Tate put you on his list for prison visits, even though you've never met, let's just say he watches your lives religiously in silence.
Top G.
Would you fly out to Romania to visit him in
You know
prison?
what, I like him, you know, but I don't really want to go down that path. You see what's happening with him. He said first he's going to get kicked off social media, which he has. Then he's going to get locked up, which he has. Then he'll get murdered.
What if they do that to you one day? Because if you've got an influence over, 20-odd thousand people on YouTube right now, but let's just say in a year's time that's hundreds of thousands of people, we could be sat here talking to the next top G.
Yeah.
You could be top G.
I have these conversations in my head. I think I would sell out like KSI and just laugh at Reddit posts, you know, laughing at bullshit.
Sorry guys, but we are 2
Oh,
minutes.
yeah.
No worries.
All right.
No worries.
But I'm saying I think I'd sell out because I don't think I'd be willing to get murdered or locked in a Romanian prison, you know what I mean? So
You might
I'd
be in
probably
an
water
English
down.
prison.
I'd probably water down. I don't think because Andrew Tate's a multi-millionaire.
In fact, you've used up your first line because they've cancelled you already, haven't they? They shut your YouTube account down.
They give me a strike.
So is that classed as is that strike one for you then?
I got a strike, yeah. I got
So
one strike.
so prison's next for you then?
Got one strike. But I've watered it down. I know I got an escort round the other day, but you know, it's just banter, innit? Sexual banter.
Is it worth letting your fans know if you ever get locked up, you've never done nothing wrong, and they need to shout from the rooftops?
Yeah, but she's on camera, leaving of her own accord. So when she messaged me saying that I forced her to stay, she's clearly on camera, leaving of her own accord. So I don't know what she's just trying to scare me, you know, into fucking...
I'm just worried that I just thought of the analogy of Andrew Tate, and you got shut down from social media, and the next strike for you is prison. And
Yeah, but I don't have got the elites like Andrew Tate. I could say a lot of things, but like I say, I'm willing to sell out like KSI and Logan Paul, you know, these guys, and just laugh at bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm not that deep, man. I just want money. I want pussy. I want to just fucking have a good time, man.
On that note, Tyan, do you want to wrap it up? Because the barman, landlady, landlord, they want us out. They don't appreciate the extra business we've brought to this establishment.
Yeah, it don't matter, man. It's been a good little chat, you know, back on Boxing King Media, man. Been watching your channel. It's good to see, man. Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna bother. No, I can't leave it on that. But you ask good questions. We'll leave it there.
Tyan Booth, I appreciate your time as always, and I look forward to seeing you next live. Thank you.